Hey y'all, my name is Emily Fleury. I'm an artist in Muskoka, and this upcoming weekend on Saturday, March 28th at the Chapel Gallery, 9:30 a.m. until 12:30 p.m. There's going to be a sculpture workshop hosted by the Muskoka Arts and Crafts Gallery, and I am honored to be teaching it. We're going to be showing how to create clay creatures like this, or like an owl, or like a snail, or anything you want to make. I'm just going to be there to facilitate it and help you through it. But I also wanted to make a video that potentially the participants of the workshop can follow once they get home, if they want to keep creating using clay, using air dry clay like I like to use. Or if anybody has ever been interested in my process of how I make these creatures, then this video is for you as well. Or if anybody brand new wants to try to create a creature from home, hopefully you can use this video. We're gonna do something like this. It's a bunny, but we're gonna turn it into kind of more of a mythical creature of a bunny. It's gonna outline how to put the teddy bear eyes inside the eye sockets that we're gonna make, and how to put eyelids on them, because that's what really gives them their expression, including the different kinds of expression you give on their mouth. For some reason, whenever I do these, I can't stop making my creatures look so shocked that they exist. They're always like, they're just shocked at, you know, how the world is. Aren't we all? Anyways, yeah, let's just get it going. Here's all the materials and tools you're gonna want. So some air dry clay, sculpture tools, maybe a butter knife, water, spray bottle, Q-tip, teddy bear eyes or any kind of eyes, and white glue if you wanna attach anything. So you're gonna take a decent chunk out of your clay and just start playing with it, spray it a little bit, start getting a feel for it, and kind of estimate the size of, you know, the project. And as you can see here, I'm trying to get it into a decent sized ball. I'm putting a hole in the bottom, so I have somewhere to hold as we work on details. It's very important. It also helps it dry much faster. And I'm shaping it into a cone because we're doing the bunny. So I want a fat bottom and kind of not a skinny top, but kind of like an egg, kind of making a big egg shape. Spraying it down. So that's the body of the creature we're making. So next you want to make the head. You do have the option to take the original egg you just made and shape out a head there if you'd like, but this is how I usually do it. So as you can see, I'm making a round circle and I'm creating a bit of a divot so that it will sit nicely on top of that egg. And I'm adding water and placing it, adding water, and then sculpting around the head and like blending it into the top of that egg. So to blend it, I'm pulling the clay down from the circle head that we just made into the body of the creature. So don't be afraid to use that clay. If you feel like you use too much, we can always add more. That's what's so great about air dry clay. It's so malleable, it's so forgiving. It's just wonderful. So now we're gonna decide where we want the eyes. If you're using the teddy bear eyes, we're gonna use our finger and create the divot where we're gonna be putting those eyes in. If you're gonna be making a smaller sculpture and you're using smaller eyes, you're gonna wanna use the back of a paintbrush or a pencil. Here's the eyes. Here's the teddy bear eyes. So we're gonna be placing those into the sockets. Sometimes you can use white glue, but you really don't have to. You just, if you want to, you can. We're gonna be sealing those eyes in by creating an eyelid. So that's what it should look like right now. It looks like a little spooky ghost. Now we're gonna go to the ears because they need time to dry. So you're gonna take your piece of clay and turn it into a long, thick sort of noodle there, just like this. Yeah. And then you're gonna wanna wet it and then place it in the palm of your hand so that it gets that curve that a bunny's ear gets, and start to create that divot for the inside of the ear. So we're just pulling down with the water and curving our palm so it continues to get that curve, and then you should have something like this. There's two reasons to do the ears now. One is to create the size that would be appropriate for the size of your project, and two is they will droop if you do big ears if you were to add them now. So we're gonna make them now and set them aside near a heater to dry, and by the time that we're ready for them, they'll be sturdy enough to attach. So now you're gonna grab my favorite tool. I call it the sharp curve. You can see here I'm putting the inside of the ear on my finger and using that as a foundation, like a backbone, in order to carve out the fur. So you definitely wanna do that. And when we're creating fur, I do like to start from the bottom up because all fur usually lies on top of what is below it. So that's usually how I do it. You can go any direction you want, but you'll see here, this is kind of how I do it, from inwards, outwards, kind of like the sunshine. But you can also create windswept fur or whatever you want. Like, there really is no right or wrong. Check the measurements, believe in yourself, follow your heart. You're the artist. You can do whatever you want. You can achieve anything. You can be anything you want to be. Moving on, we're on to the tail. So you're going to take a tiny piece of clay and you're going to make a little circle. You're going to see the size. You're going to create another divot. Always create your little divots with your little finger or a little tool. Add a little bit of water. And then this time, instead of finger blending it in, we are going to use a tool. We're going to use that sharp curve again. You can use any tool really, but any flat or sharp tool, and blend it into the bottom there. So now you're going to want to take about a couple inches of clay, a couple square inches, because we're going to create a long, thick noodle here. We're measuring for the thick neck we want to create. As you can see here, we're measuring it before we put it on. This is because bunnies often have a ton of fluff right under their head, right? So attach that noodle and just blend it into the back. It's gonna go away when we create the fur, so don't worry about anything that looks kind of crazy. You can start to kind of secure that noodle into the neck, noodle neck, and then you're gonna grab a little piece of clay like this and create little balls, just like that. This is for the cheeks. Dip it in water, press it into place right under the eye. You know those little puffs that bunnies have right under their eyes? That's what this is gonna be. Easy as that. If you've been watching this and following along, you're probably at 30 minutes now. You're gonna wanna spray your clay just to give it a bit of hydration. We are on to the eyelids now, so we're making a different shape. We haven't made this yet. You're gonna make a very skinny noodle. Just like this, as you can see. If it looks wonky, that's okay. It's gonna look all right, trust me. Everything gets fixed with the fur. That should be a phrase. So I'm showing you here how to lay it out. So you're gonna take that skinny little branch of it and lay it across the top of the eye and the bottom of the eye in two separate pieces. What you decide to do with the eyelids here really defines what the expression of your creature is going to be. So if you give it quite a skinny eyelid, it might look a little bit angry. If you give it more of that kind of almost full moon look, it's gonna look like it's shocked and excited. There's all sorts of things you can do to create expression through the eyes. And if you don't like it, you can always push back from the actual eye to create the shape that you want. Like this, I'm using water and my hands and I'm pushing it back. You can use the tools to do that, or you can scrape the whole thing away and start over. Like, it's completely up to you. It is an exploration, but here's my happy little guy. So next we're going to move on to the arms. You're going to make a medium small size noodle with kind of more pointy edges, and then you're going to curve those edges in to make kind of like a very flimsy paw, just like that. And then you're going to want to cut that in half and then see if it is the right size for your creature. Hold it up to the sides and just make sure that it's exactly how you want it to be. And then you're going to take that, and without putting it in water, you're going to put it on to the sides of your creature, right under that neck noodle that we made. Or you can put them lower if you want, wherever you think. Depends how fat your creature is. Oh, I did dip it in water. You don't have to do that. It's going to make it a bit harder to get on. You can just add water afterwards. So I'm creating another little divot for it and pressing that little arm in. So there, you got some arms. At this point, you might want to spray down your creature. Always hydrate your creature because the clay might be getting a little bit dry. Now we're moving on to the feet. So you're going to do the same thing, but a much thicker noodle with a non-pointed end. So I'm kind of flattening it out a little bit. You'll see here. So you're creating the feet. And that's going to go underneath. So you can pick up your creature and just start finger blending that into the bottom. After you do that, you can make sure that your bottom is still nice and level so it's sitting the way you want it to be sitting. There you go, you got most of your base done here. Next you're going to take your needle point tool and you're going to drag from the top of the foot down to the bottom and make 2 lines. You're just creating the toes here. And then you can switch over to your sharp curve after you're done with this. It's going to show it right here. There we go, the sharp curve. And you can start blending in the feet to the body. And you can start creating your fur and kind of create a little bit of a connection there like I'm doing right there. And then just start doing the fur the same way that we did the ears. You go from the bottom up and you can do windswept, you can do completely honestly just do the fur however you want. Like you'll start to figure out what kind of fur you like to do. And now we've gone to that noodle neck, that thick neck. And I'm gonna spray it because it needs it. Anytime your clay needs it, just spray it. And I'm dragging it down and I'm blending in those harsh lines, right? I did want there to be a dramatic kind of noodle around the neck where that fat does sit on a fat bunny, right? So that's what we're doing there. And then for the face, those cheeks that we put in, starting from the outside, blending outwards, kind of a little bit more diagonal, horizontal, just like that. Yeah, it starts to come to life at this point, honestly. Look at that. And we're only working on the front right now so we can still hold the back. So now we're going in with the sharp tool there, the needle point, and making kind of where the mouth is going to be. And then I'm going to flip it over to the sharp curve and create that mouth shape that I like to do, where they're kind of like open mouthed and shocked. And now we're making a little V where we want the nose to be, as you can see here. And I've drawn a line down to the mouth as well. Just like that. I've put little dots for whiskers, you don't have to do that. And I'm gonna cross that off because I love doing a little tiny nose. And that's just kind of place setting for it. It's not completely done yet. Now I am going around the eyes, going around those lines I just made and like really dialing in that fur so it doesn't look patchy. It looks, you know, really like a lot of intent was there when it was created. Spraying it down again. Now, what are we doing? Oh yeah, we're starting the back. So just keep going. You can always practice your fur on like random pieces of clay before you go into the main thing. You can always get it wet and start over. You can do whatever you want. So I'm about to run out of space to hold it. So this is where you have to really create a table with your fingers underneath. That's coming. And we're just furring away here. Furring away. You guys don't need me to tell you what to do. You're already doing it. You already know. You already know what it is. Now when you go to put it down, you always want to hold on to the eyes and kind of just very slowly put it down because that's a safe spot to hold on to. And you're going to have to put it down at a certain point to get the top. So that's where we're at right now. And then my husband came to check on my project. The dog came to see what's going on too. Now I'm showing him the front. He's going, ooh, ah, so cute. He boops it, then he boops me, and then he's on his way. Okay, so we're putting it back down. I'm holding onto the eyes. You can see there the technique. Flawless. So yeah, we're still doing the fur here. Going all around the eyes. And now I'm going from that top of the nose and making a bunch of tiny little hairs because that's what it looks like on a bunny near the face. Okay, and now we're gonna safely pick her back up, and I think it's time for the ears. So you're gonna go get your ears from wherever they were drying. Here they are. Yeah. And just play around, see what kind of bunny you wanna make because this part's pretty big. Like if they're straight up, the bunny's listening to you. If they're kind of back, he's in a bit of a more of a calm or chill or scared mode, you know? So I picked my placement and I'm shoving it into the part of the head that I want it in. And then I'm grabbing a bunch of clay after this. And I will be kind of taking little pieces of clay and building a little foundation around those ears and blending them in. Don't worry about messing up the fur. you can go back in and carve it back out, so that's totally fine. Then I get distracted and touch the eyes for a minute. Classic. So I'm picking it up so that I can get, this is kind of hard to do, but I know you guys can do it. So you go under with your little piece of clay under the ear and glue it in there, you know? Just like we did with all the other things that we've been adding. This is the last thing you're adding, and you're just gluing it in using that clay. You can add water, you can keep it dry, like whatever works best for you. I can kind of show you what I've done. See how it's nice and sealed in there? Those bad boys are not coming off. And I'm going around and fixing up all that fur that I just kind of messed up by getting those on. So now we're just gonna go in and get all those little details. I'm thinking I want to reshape the eyes a little bit more. I'm getting the tops of those ears and really blending in that foundation we created, making all the fur nice and uniform with everything, like everything looks like it's meant to be there. I'm going in and fixing the mouth a little bit. Yeah, so you're just getting those final little details. So now you have your entire base. That's it. You don't have to do anything else if you don't want to. In this video, I am adding wings and antlers. Now, I don't usually use pipe cleaners, but I didn't have any sticks on hand, but I did right after this because I decided I'm definitely not using these to go and harvest a bunch of sticks for this. So these are just kind of placeholders right now. If you are going to do antlers, you can dip it in some white glue and just plop it right in there. You can clean up the glue, you can just blend it into the fur, and that's that. And I didn't show you guys the wings, I'm so sorry, but it's the same concept. You just stick them where you want them. Now, the reveal to the husband. He's excited, he loves it. That makes me happy. He poops it again. Okay, so now we have a finished sculpture. The paint isn't on there yet. So because I want to show you how to make this all in one day, if you have a heater at home and you throw this in front of it, it 100% will dry in like an hour. Or maybe not fully on the inside, but it'll dry on the outside enough that you can paint it. So I'm gonna show you guys my little secret of how I dry my clay sculptures, because I don't know, it doesn't look very professional, but it works so well, especially because it's like blowing air up. It's just your in-floor heating. So I'm gonna show you guys. This is what I use. It's blowing hot air. It works like a charm. I live in a house where I don't need a space heater anymore, unlike the rest of my entire life where I have always needed a space heater. So this is where I put them. When you're putting these guys down, because everything's kind of wet, grab them by the eyes and slowly move your hand to the last point that you can hold it, and then lay it down. You can always carve and fix anything afterwards. So yeah, that's just the best way to do it. Placing him on the heater. Okay, so we are on to the painting process. I like to have a collection of acrylic that is mostly earth tones for all of my creatures. You also need paintbrushes, the sculpture, a Q-tip, some water, and paper towel. And you're ready to go. So you can see here, I have the wings on. You definitely want to take those off. I tried to paint around them, and that's a mistake. You just pull them out of their holes and you can put them back in with some glue afterwards. And then you can clean your eyes just so you can really have a good view of what you're painting around. So we do that, and then we take some white paint. I accidentally chose my pearl white, which I don't want. You just want regular titanium white. And I'm making a little dollop there. Put down enough paint so that you don't run out, so that you have all the colors that you need. You don't have to remix them and try to color match. Next is the raw sienna. So that's what that one is. Next is the Naples yellow, which is like a very light yellow with white. Next is burnt umber, a nice dark brown. And that's it. Oh, I believe we also have the pink for the nose and for under the ears. Yeah, so that's just like a light pink there. So I'm mixing that. I've added a bit of the raw sienna to it just to give it a bit of a darker hue. Raw sienna is like a reddy brown. And I'm going in and under, and I'm painting the inside of the ear, because the inside of the bunny's ear is usually this really cute pink, right? And now I've decided, let's get these things out of here. What a mistake. Don't do that. Okay, so next we are cleaning the brush using the paper towel, going on to our skinny one, grabbing a little bit of that pink, and I'm painting the nose. I end up changing this later on. You don't have to paint the nose pink. You can paint it kind of like a light brown or whatever color you're doing your bunny. You can do your bunny and you can do your bunny any color. Like you can do it all dark, you can do it black, you can do it brown. I like to look up pictures of bunnies and then try to follow kind of like a pattern because some of them are multicolored and I really love challenging myself in doing that. So this is a multicolored beige bunny. So I'm making beige here by using the Naples yellow, the raw sienna, just getting that base, grabbing more of it, making sure I mix enough for the size of my creature so I don't run out and have to remix and not have the same color. I'm grabbing some of that burnt umber to kind of dull it down a little bit. And then I'm grabbing a ton of white and I'm mixing. Mix. And I got it to a place that I really like. So now I'm grabbing some white and I'm dragging in that color that we just made so I can make a lighter tone of this color for the bunny, for the chest, for the mouth, and for parts of the cheek. Now you don't have to do this. You can paint your bunny whatever color you want, but I'm just gonna run through this color theory and how exactly I painted this one in case anybody does want to follow that. But yeah, so we've picked all the lighter points, and the lighter points are gonna be the tops of the paws and the cheeks and the chest and kind of the belly. And then the face and the sides and the back are going to be the first shade that we had mixed. And now I'm going in and I'm grabbing some darker parts for inside that line that is below the nose and into the mouth. Not fully black, but you know, I'm using that dark brown and kind of just blending it in there. There will be some close-ups so you'll actually be able to see what it looks like. And now I am realizing that this is gonna be hard to tell you what I'm doing because when I paint, I don't just stick to one color and do everything that's the one color. I kind of go all over the place. But this is kind of useful when it comes to a little bit of mixing and color theory and the shades on the bunny that you might want to use. For example, if you want a brown bunny, but you want some parts that are lighter, you mix your brown, then you take that brown that you mixed and you add a little bit of white. And you can do your cheeks, you can do the piece of the mouth where the chin is, you can do fluffs on the chest and the tops of the paws, that lighter shade, and you'll see just a little bit of drama and dynamic within the way that the creature is painted. So yeah, we're carefully going around the eyes. I like to use possibly the lighter color around the eyes, just creates a little bit more of an eyelid. We're going. I did decide that for the ears, I wanted them to be darker than the rest because I saw pictures of these kind of bunnies that were this gorgeous light caramel and their ears were always a little bit darker and I just thought it was so cute. So I believe I'm mixing that color now. So it's all the same ingredients that we used for the first color that we made, but this time I'm not adding any white. I'm most likely adding a little bit more brown. See that? See how it pops? Let me know if you guys do follow this whole tutorial. Please send me photos of your creatures and how you painted them. So something that I think is noteworthy here is when you're painting this, you've created all this fur and it has so many little lines inside of your creature. You really want to get into those lines. So you're picking it up, you're looking upside down at it, you'll paint the whole thing from one point of view and then you move it around and you notice, oh, my paintbrush didn't reach in there because it couldn't at the angle I was working. So pick it up and get all around. So for the ears, you're gonna keep the inside pink, but you can definitely go around those edges where there's still lines of fur and just line it up around that pink, however you see suited. So now going around the eyes with your tiniest brush, I'm just making sure it's perfect. I'm going in, and then when I mess it up, I take a dry paintbrush, I dip it in water, and I go to the inside of the eye, and I just clean it up. And I use the Q-tip there. Yeah, so don't worry. If you get some paint on the eye, it'll scrape off. You can immediately use water and get it off. Don't worry about that. So now we're doing the back. I'm doing it with that medium shade with a little bit of darkness. And then I'm holding on to the tail because it's like, it kind of dried. Just for some sturdiness. Now I'm creating a little bit of a shadow under that noodle neck that we made. Because I really like to emphasize like how fat that neck is. I don't know why, but I think it's just so cute. It's so cute. Now I'm going around the arms and I'm kind of giving it underneath the arms a little bit of a shadow as well. And I'm going into the paws. I think I overdid it here because then I just decided that I'm gonna make the paws also the dark brown instead. It does work though. It's pretty cute. Look at that. Look at that. It really makes that kind of just off-white, creamy, sort of colored belly pop. And now I'm carefully putting her down. Something great about this acrylic paint is that when you're painting this, it actually dries super fast. Like you can do your whole first coat like this and then come back in 5 minutes and be able to kind of pick it up and touch it, like, and do your second coat if you need it, or any kind of details or any kind of fixes that you want to do. It's really great. So yeah, now we're painting the little feet. I'm definitely doing them a dark color just to create that contrast. You're just getting in there, you know? Look at this little baby come to life. It's crazy. So that's really all the tips and tricks I have for you guys. At this point, I'm just gonna stop talking and let you paint, and I'll see you at the end of the video. I can't wait to see what you guys create. Please, if you do follow this, send me what you made. I need to see it. Okay, I'm back. So I'm just doing those final little details. I'm just lightening up right around the cheeks and right around the mouth. And that is the final form. That's the last of the painting you have to do. But if you want, you can seal this. You can use a gloss varnish, you can use a matte varnish, or you can be crazy like me and use a cement sealant that you can get at Home Depot or any place like that. It just makes it super waterproof. I just drop it in there a couple times and it really seals her up. So here's the finished product without the wings. And then next we're gonna put the wings in. I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue on them and then slide them into place. I did accidentally paint over the hole, so it kind of disappeared and I had to recarve it out, which is, you know, the beauty of this material and these mediums. You can fix anything. So we just do a quick little poke in there, find the hole. Easy peasy. There it is. Perfect. Now we're gonna throw that little wing in there. So you're gonna have your finished winged jackalope or clay creature bunny at the end of this, just like this, just displaying her. She kind of looks like a moth. Thank you for watching this and following along. Stay tuned for more tutorials like this. I wish you all peace and love. Farewell for now.